Today I want to share something a little sneaky with you. I want to share 3 sneaky therapy questions. Now these 3 therapy questions are what I found to be a wonderful way to bypass resistance and get clients to experience different emotional states, different ideas that they might not normally entertain. One thing I found in my work when I'm trying to create these transformative experiences, I find that oftentimes confrontation is not always a good thing. Now, in some cases, we may have to confront our clients, a compassionate confrontation, but the confrontational style doesn't tend to work that well. As a matter of fact, a lot of research on the common factors shows that a confrontational style is not always the best way to help clients. Instantly the walls come up, they become defensive, and very little success is occurring in the room. And of course, that's a wonderful way to label your client as resistant. So if you're confrontational and they don't like the confrontation, you can say, oh, they're resisting this or that. It's a great way to let yourself off the hook. But if your goal is to be a transformative therapist, you may want to back a little off that confrontational style. So there are 3 questions or 3 categories of questions, 3 concepts that I think and I have found can be very beneficial. You may already be doing these. But if not, I want you to experiment with them. So let's get to the 3 sneaky therapy questions. The first is what I call the future questions. And the pattern is this. If you were to X and Y happened, what would that be like for you? So if you were to X and Y happened, what would that be like for you? So asking this question helps to stimulate possibilities in the client's mind. We're not saying that this is what's going to happen, hence the if. If this happened, what would that be like for you? Now, leaving that, what would that be like for you? That could be their thoughts, that could be their emotions, that could be their situation. And it's kind of stepping back and just saying, I'm just putting this out there. So this introduces hypothetical possibilities, and more importantly, this kind of instills hope. Because even though we're not saying this is what's going to happen, we're just teasing that out. What if this happened? If you were to do this and this happened, what would that be like for you? So an example would be, if you were to make that call about the job and you got the job, what would that be like for you? Or if you were to take some time away from this relationship and you found that you were actually more comfortable, what would that be like for you? If you were to just stop drinking for one day and found that you could do that, what would that be like for you? We're not telling the client this is what's going to happen. We're just teasing out possibilities. Now, if the client is really in rapport and in good connection with you, what's going to happen is they will go inside and experience that. In order for them to really know what that'd be like for them, they have to experience that on the inside. So you know at least one time they have experienced what that result would feel like, what it would be like from in their cognitive world. And we're not trying to direct them or battle with them to try and create this outcome. We're just kind of putting out there. So that's a future question. If you were to X and Y happened, what would that be like for you? Now, the second question I call the outside observer question. And I really, really enjoy this question a lot. The outside observer question is basically to help clients develop a different awareness about their situation. You see, a lot of times we all get in our little box, our world of what's happening to us or what we think's happening to us, and we aren't really able to focus on another perspective, another frame of reference. Sometimes just by having the client step out of their world and into a different perspective, what I call the outside observer, it leads to a lot of insight on part of the client, but yet we're not confronting them. So here's the question. If someone you didn't know were to see, hear X, what do you think they'd think about that? So if someone you didn't know were to see or hear X, what do you think they would think about that? Now, I'll sometimes even say it like this. If someone, out there, not me, but someone out there were to see this, what do you think they'd think about it? Now, the reason this is a very, very powerful question is because I'm taking myself totally out of it. And that's why I even say, not me. If somebody out there, now not me, but somebody out there were to see you blow up at your husband about this, what do you think they'd think about that? If someone out there, not me, but someone out there were to hear you say those things about your job, what do you think they'd think about that? And 9 out of 10 times, the client will give you that information and maybe have a little bit of an insight. So they may say, well, they may think I'm too demanding, or they may think I'm too aggressive, or they may think that I'm avoiding some issue I don't want to deal with. And when that comes out, you know what we do? You just do this. You're not saying, yes, exactly. See, I told you so. What you're doing is you're creating this space for them to kind of discover it themselves, taking yourself out of the therapy room, because it's someone out there, not me. Someone out there saw that, not me. What do you think they think about that? So they're able to get a little space because they have to observe themselves in a secondary position, which is a little positive disassociation from whatever that emotional gunk is they're doing, to view this from someone else's perspective. So it's kind of similar in some ways to like the circular questioning you hear in the Milan systemic therapy, where you have a family and then you go, well, what do you think your father notices when you do that? But this time, it's not even a specific person. It's just someone out there. It's amazing what clients will come up with, and they'll say it, and they'll hear themselves say it, and you haven't had to say a thing. Because a lot of times, they know down deep at that unconscious level. So that's the outside observer question. Now, this third sneaky question is what I call the hidden suggestion question. Now, this is sometimes we need to give our clients a little gentle push in a direction that they may be kind of resistant and holding back, but we don't want to be directive. We want to be indirectly directive. So we want to give them the possibilities and a little nudge, but without forcing. Now, this is what you want to do. Here's your homework. I want you to do all these things. You're going to do this. You're going to do that, and all of that. So it's just really saying, you're doing this. What if you did something else? So here's the question. If instead of X, you did Y, what do you think might happen? So if instead of X, you did Y, what do you think might happen? Now, this question is very effective in that it gives them other options. And we're not telling them what they need to do. It's just, if you did this instead of this other thing, what could happen? So an example, if instead of yelling at your wife, you just went outside and cooled down, what do you think might happen? Well, instead of getting mad at your boss and showing out at work, you use that energy to start looking for another job. What do you think might happen? Well, instead of sitting at home and being frustrated that nobody cares about you, you decided to, I don't know, go to the museum that you like to go to when it's real busy. What do you think might happen? Again, we're not telling them what's going to happen. We're not telling them they need to, go look for a job, go to the museum, stop yelling at the wife, whatever. It's just opening up that possibilities. Now, a lot of times you'll get the, I don't know. And that's because maybe you're not in enough rapport with them to get them to really go inside and really investigate that. It doesn't mean that it's automatically they're going to start doing it, but at the same time, you have gone bypass the resistance factor to just get them to, at the mental, emotional, physical level, experience the very thing that maybe they might need to investigate without you being the dictator, without you telling them that they absolutely have to do it. So those are our 3 sneaky therapy questions. And I found that these questions go a long way toward opening up a session, to open up that little space where the client comes with their own answers, their own insight. And then when we make that space, then these magical, transformative things can happen. So have fun with it.